Hello, welcome to ChamberLIVE. Marketing Mix today, brought to you by the East Lancashire Chamber of Commerce. The views expressed in today's webinar don't necessarily represent the views of the East Lancashire Chamber of Commerce, but all facts are believed to be correct at the time of recording, which is the 12th of March 2021. Now, according to a recent study by the Chartered Institute of Marketing, there's an alarming lack of training for people in the middle of their careers in the sector, which has prompted the focus of today's ChamberLIVE. We're going to hear from guest speakers Matthew Briggs and Patrick Cutliffe. Matthew's going to provide a focus on the current situation and training development needs for our workforces in what is an increasingly digital climate. His presentation will also include a case study on a Burnley-based video production company called BellyFlop TV. And Patrick's going to talk to us about his digital marketing leadership and innovation program. It's a solution that takes the form of his talent program that provides companies with female digital leaders for the future workforce. We're even going to meet some of them as well, as recent graduates from his digital boot camp will talk to us as well. But before we get to that, and she's here now, which is good, let me introduce our head of marketing and comms at East Lancashire Chamber, Jen Hill. Morning, Jen.
Good morning. Sorry if I gave you a heart attack. I got stuck on a Kickstarter inquiry. Yeah, I won't keep you long. I just wanted to put some context, I think, around today's topic, really, for those of you on the meeting who might be sort of thinking this isn't quite for you, or thinking, how do you build this into your business? Just to put it into context, with the many different hats that I wear, I'm constantly coming across people who do not invest in their own career. So I'd be interested to know how many of you who aren't at the very beginning of your careers have actually done some form of CPD, learning, official training, qualification, since you actually left uni or college, or, you know, when you were in your early 20s. It's absolutely staggering, the number of people who don't. And if not you, then think about your members of staff. You're expecting from them to be at the cutting edge of marketing. That's a changing landscape daily. I mean, we're talking daily. To put that into context, in 2019, Google released 500 plus algorithm updates. Now, if you let that sink in for a second, there's only 365 days in a year. That's more than one a day. So whatever you thought you knew about Google, websites, the way that the internet works, forget it if you're not reading up on it every single day. So for people who've got out of university into a career, it's so easy to then just be expected to get on with it, know this stuff, move with it every day, and yet your employers very often don't give you the opportunity for built-in time for CPD, for reading up, for following the influencers. There's a whole host of things out there that are either self-funded if you've got an employer who isn't particularly supportive, or funded by the government, funded by employers. Pick the one that's right for you. There is loads to choose from CIM to Google Digital Garage workshops. There's stuff from the Chamber and similar sorts of organisations. There's obviously a myriad from the two people that we're going to hear of from today. The fact that you can now do a digital marketing degree level apprenticeship while you're working is an absolute game changer, in my opinion. I'm big vocational flag waver. And I just can't understand why people, and I work with everybody right up to CEO level, who'll say to me when I start speaking about it, you're completely right. I can't believe I haven't done anything in 30 years. Well, why not? Students aren't only 20-year-olds. We all wish we were 20 again, but that's not necessarily the case. So I'll stop banging on, but I wanted to just put it into some context, because as the marketing lead at the Chamber, we're investing in our marketing exec doing a CIM degree level qualification. I obviously teach some marketing for various institutions as well, and constantly come across students at every level of the career, but not enough of them at that sort of mid stage. I think when people think that they've sort of succeeded in marketing, they stop learning, which is completely backward in its thinking if you consider that. Any questions, come to me. You all know where I am. But I'll stop banging on and introduce our first speaker. Matthew Briggs is a senior lecturer and course leader for digital marketing degree apprenticeships. Nice link there, Jen, at UCLan. He's heading up a growing team of experts, and together they're offering delivery around digital marketing related subjects, providing robust support to apprentices and businesses to prepare for careers in the industry. Matthew's been driving leadership and change to programs in HE for around 12 years. He's a member of the Trailblazer Group for digital marketing, and is currently carrying out further postgrad research on this subject. Matthew's got extensive experience in the industry as well as higher education, and is passionate about developing courses and apprentices studying them to address the digital skills gap. Really important stuff. Over to you. Thank you, Matthew.
Cool, thank you, Jen. You've covered a lot of my points there, which is good. So it's a nice echo, which is great. Absolutely fine. I'm just going to share my screen if I can. There we go. Right. Okay. So Jen makes some exceptionally good points there. Just struggling with my PowerPoint. Just bear with me. Jen makes some exceptionally good points there in that the level of training does unfortunately appear to stop at certain age groups. Sorry, I'm really struggling to share my PowerPoint here. I've got things in my way.
We are seeing it, Matthew. We can see
right,
it.
okay.
We're just not on presenter view. We can see your presenter view rather. So you need
right,
to
yeah, I can't get to my presenter view, which is a problem. Can I run it like this? Is that okay?
Yeah, fine.
You'll see that. I'll just zoom in a bit. Right. Okay, apologies for that. Got loads of stuff in my way. Right, okay, so again, just to mention 2020, I know it's a dirty word, but the year that we've all been through, I think if anything, that has taught us that we need to be online as businesses, and your employees yourself have picked up plenty of skills in the last 12 to 15 months that you potentially didn't have or didn't even think you needed to have. And it's been a bit of an eye-opener for us in education. You know, practically all of my work is online at the moment, which wasn't the case last year. I was 100% sort of in-person delivery. So that change has been very rapid, and we didn't really have much time to prepare for that. And I imagine yourself in your businesses, you're in exactly the same situation that I was. So businesses being online is obviously very important, as well as having the confidence in employees about working online and being in online environments. So developing their skills is obviously hugely important in terms of long-term growth, in terms of developing that skill, but also having confidence around customers and consumers as well. So developing digital skills is obviously very crucial to that. And obviously I work with degree apprenticeships, so we look at digital skills and the ability to work with digital marketing platforms, the ability to analyze, but as important as all of that is the personable skills as well, or the so-called softer skills, if you will. And that's equally as important. And I think there will be a gap when everyone goes back to work in terms of that social skill, just because we haven't dealt with people in person for 12 months. In some cases, some offices have been back in work, some haven't, but there's potential for gaps there as well. Okay, so the tech sector is worth £87 billion per year to our economy. In 2016, 43% of digital tech businesses said that skills shortages in applicants was actually limiting their growth, so it was having negative impacts. That's only increased to 52% in the last few years. In November last year, Microsoft, in partnership with Goldsmiths at the University of London, has warned that a lack of digital skills could leave companies struggling to compete on the global stage. And we may not be operating globally, but it is a concern in terms of bouncing back from COVID, and it is a big worry just across the sector in terms of the skills that aren't there. So according to the Open University, the skills shortage is costing around £6.3 billion a year. And research from the Confederation of British Industry, or the CBI, revealed that businesses, governments and individuals need to be spending on adult education and increasing that amount by £130 billion by 2030. And that's just to narrow the skills gap. That's not necessarily to thrive in that area. So there are concerns and there are obviously problems around the skills gap. It's not anything that's new. It's been something that is around for a while and unfortunately will continue to be around for a while. So 80% of UK leaders believed investment in digital skills is important to the COVID-19 recovery in terms of the economy, while 78% of those view a large pool of digital talent as essential to the UK's competitiveness in the global industry. So these are quite high numbers, which is obviously concerning. The research that Simon alluded to earlier from the Chartered Institute of Marketing, that's found that a significant age divide from people who actually train, and the two speakers before me obviously mentioned that people in sort of the middle stage of their careers just aren't training, and that can be sometimes due to their employer, it could be due to their own motivation. There are all sorts of reasons, you know, as to why people do stop training. But as Jen said, in digital marketing, it never stands still. And if there's one thing I've learned since developing this course is that you just cannot stand still. And one thing we're very keen to do with our degree apprenticeships is speak with employers, because ultimately we're preparing people for you. And if we're not preparing them with the right skill, if we're not preparing them with the right level of, you know, technology that's being used, then we're not doing our job essentially. So we are very employer focused. We do seek opinions from employers, and that's right down to the module design, to the assignment design. And I'll go into that a little bit more later, but it's something that degree apprenticeships have to do. We have to have our ear to the ground, as it were. So the lack of training, just to reiterate those points, the report from Digital Vision, Living on the Cutting Edge, finds 44% of 45 to 54-year-olds, 62% of 55 to 64-year-olds, and 74% over 65 are just not training. And that's compared to 7% of those between 16 and 24. So the 16 to 24, maybe the fair assumption that they're doing their degree, they're doing CIM or whatever it may be. But the theory is that it just stops after that, which is obviously a bit of a concern. Over 1 million jobs in 2020 were unfilled. Obviously, and that's just last year. So these jobs are being advertised and people are interviewing for them, but the positions just aren't being filled due to lack of skills, which is obviously a big concern, because people aren't getting jobs, but also businesses aren't able to thrive in the way that they need to, because the skill set or the talent pool isn't there. So it's even more important than ever, really, to invest in staff, to give them the skill. A quote from Benjamin Franklin: "An investment in knowledge always pays the best interest," which, you know, old quote, but obviously still very true. In terms of replacing staff, the average cost of employee turnover is £11,000 per person. So that figure is calculated covering recruitment costs, potential loss of productivity, advertising costs, just equipment and, you know, the new starter, the badges, keys, etc., and then any agency fees. That's from Monster, obviously the job website from last year, but £11,000 just to actually recruit somebody or replace somebody, which is a big problem. And 74%, what I'm referring to here is a long-term research project from the Middlesex University for work-based learning. They found in a 4,300 workers sample that 74% of those people felt they weren't achieving their full potential due to a lack of development opportunities. That actually is the main reason for people leaving their job, and they leave their job for that even more so than their pay. So their skills and their career development is more important to them than the amount they are paid, which is quite an illuminating statistic. And when you consider people leaving that role to then spend £11,000 on average to replace them, that's expenditure that's often more than it is to, well, it is more than to train that person. In a recent Dale Carnegie survey, Companies with engaged employees outperform those without by 202%. And the research also suggested staff that will remain in position when they're supported. So if they are supported through further study, whether that be a degree apprenticeship or CIM or anything that it may be, they show loyalty to the business that does that for them, because they value it, and ultimately they will stay where they are purposefully CPD'd. So just a little bit about what I do just on the back of that. So degree apprenticeships are obviously a very good way to do that, and there's a change in face of the apprentice, and that's one thing I'm researching at the moment, in that when we associate apprentices, typically the view of an apprentice as being a school leaver. It's not that anymore. We have people on our courses that are company directors. We have college leavers all the way up to business owners. And it's important to sort of replace that. It's not a stigma, but just replace that opinion sometimes. And we have people that are 18, 25, 35, 56. Anyone can do a degree apprenticeship. It's a good way to get back in and obviously develop those skills. As well as getting a level 6 apprenticeship award, you also do get a full Bachelor of Arts with honours, Bachelor of Science depending on subject, but marketing for us at least is under the Bachelor of Arts, so you get 2 awards. It's relatively inexpensive to do so. So for a business that has a turnover of under 3 million, so a small to medium enterprise, the total cost of that is £1,050 for 3 years. That amount is spread over 3 years as well. So ultimately 300 and something pounds per year over 3 years. The remaining 95% is obviously paid by the government. So it's a relatively inexpensive way to upskill for 3 years in education, and obviously to get 2 awards of a degree and a level 6 apprenticeship on top of that. For larger companies, obviously they can use the levy that they pay into anyway, as part of the sort of government apprenticeship scheme. So our degree apprenticeship looks to focus on theory but practice as well, and we're very project driven. So as part of any apprenticeship, there's knowledge, skills and behaviours that have to be addressed as part of that. So we build projects into every single year, and they act as checkpoints basically to allow us to evidence those knowledge, skills and behaviours. What it also does though is allows us to communicate with employers about what is best for that apprentice, so that apprentice can then do projects that are purposeful to them and their development, but also as importantly that are important to the business that they work for as well. So we don't really have, you must do this for your project. There's nothing of that. It's what the apprentice wants and ultimately what the business wants. And as I say, there are projects on each year. So it's employer led. As I said earlier, we do try and communicate with employers to keep the course current, and we attempt to keep it very sort of project driven to allow that apprentice and that employer to develop the skills in the area that that apprentice and that employer want them to, because ultimately once they finish and once they leave, they're going to work presumably still with that employer. That's the hope, and the research that suggests that that's 74% would be willing to do so. So that's it from me really in terms of degree apprenticeships and what we do. I do have an apprentice with us, Mark Robinson from BellyFlop Video, wonderful apprentice. So if you wouldn't mind, Mark, just talking through a little bit about how the course has helped you and how it's sort of led to you sort of developing your business, if that's okay.
Yeah, so I'm Mark Robinson and I'm an imposter. At least that's probably what I would have said a few years ago when you started talking to me about video projects. So BellyFlop TV, we're a video production company that my partner set up back in 2008 on the back of a career in broadcast TV. We still work in broadcast TV, but I look after the non-broadcast projects. Now, a lot of the stuff that we work on will be things from business profile films through to product promotions, training materials, etc. And obviously the people that I'm usually dealing with are business owners or marketing managers. So previously, when a client approached us about a project and we'd start talking about a project, I would be able to guide them and steer them in the right direction of a film that would meet their needs. But that was based on experience. Obviously, we've been in the business for a very long time, so we knew, you know, what sort of duration the film needs to be and how to tell the story, to convey the message, to deliver the result that they ultimately wanted. But I felt that perhaps my confidence wasn't where it needed to be, because although the experience was there, because my background is not video and TV production, then I felt that perhaps I needed to underpin what I was guiding my clients with a little bit more sort of academic knowledge. So that's why I felt that a marketing apprenticeship would actually support that. You know, my previous professional qualifications then, I suppose, were in engineering, so nothing to do with marketing at all, even though I've worked in sales and marketing since the late 90s. So it was good for me. It felt like a good idea to get some of the academic underpinning so when I was making those recommendations, I can make those recommendations based on academic theories as well as our experience. So since doing the apprenticeship, obviously I found that it fits in well with my work. You know, it's a lot of the things that we've covered is stuff that I already knew or was already doing. So it's good to sort of be reinforced that actually we're doing the right thing. The experience that we've gained has taught us the right way to do things. So it's good to get that sort of knowledge, if you like, to underpin that. But also, you know, as we've experienced COVID, you know, we've had more challenges than usual. So it wasn't just about speaking to our existing customers, and, you know, we had to learn a different way to sell because we had a different product. So we launched BellyFlop Video, which is a remote tool then, if you like, for collecting video testimonials and case studies. Because obviously with COVID, we weren't able to get out with a crew to film. So the marketing degree apprenticeship has been really interesting and useful in helping create the content that we needed to launch that product. And obviously it gives, again, a better insight into how our clients can use that product to market their products and services as well. So the project work, as Matt said, you know, it's not focused on hypothetical scenarios, etc. These are real projects that I'm actually doing for my work. So there isn't any additional, a huge additional workload for that. So as an example, I recently created 40 some odd tutorials for that new platform. But those tutorials that I've created will form part of the project that I need to produce for the degree apprenticeship. So it's fitted in quite nicely. So it's worked for me, and obviously my clients are obviously seeing the benefit of that as well. And I no longer feel like an imposter when a client rings me up, and you know, I don't feel like they know more than me. I've got more confidence in my experience and in the fact that actually, you know, there's academia to back the theories or the suggestions that I'm making to my client. Has anybody got any queries? Because I'm guessing that I've probably just opened a big can of worms there. Anita.
Yeah. How much time do you spend on it, say on a weekly basis, studying for it?
So at the moment, Wednesdays is the uni day. So obviously I block that out of my diary. And then apart from that, it's a few hours. And it's as much or as little as I want. So in the early days, there was, I suppose, fire in my belly and I wanted to do loads. So I was doing loads because my schedule permitted that. But then obviously when COVID struck and we've changed sort of the direction of the business, etc., there's been more demands on my time, which has meant that I've not spent as much time on my degree apprenticeship, but at the same time, my results have not suffered as a result of that, because I think previously I was just going a little bit above and beyond with the off-the-job training or on-the-job training, and it wasn't necessary to put in as much effort as it was, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's one day a week out to the office, which is nice to have that time to, as a business owner as well, you know, I'm the director for the business as well. So as a business owner, I see that time as time to work on the business as opposed to working in the business. So we get told that, you know, we need to work on the business instead of in it. And that is my time to work on the business because I'm able to step back and look at the business objectively.
Great, thanks for that.
Thanks, Mark. Did you have a final slide, Matthew?
I did indeed, yeah. Just right. Basically, the last bit is the degree apprenticeships that we offer. So we run the digital marketing degree apprenticeship at Burnley campus. We run it at Preston as well. The courses are the same. It's just September for a Preston start and January start for the Burnley apprentices. We have that just because it offers a bit of flexibility to employers, and some value it, particularly last year because nobody knew what was happening in the summer, and you know, a lot of businesses were concerned if they had a business in September, never mind, you know, if they could send apprentices. So we got some in January on the back of that. So that flexibility really supports businesses, but us as well. We run the level 6, obviously, in digital marketing degree apprenticeship. We run a digital technology solutions degree apprenticeship as well. So that's software focused, cybersecurity focused. Again, that runs at the Burnley campus. We run MBA all the way up to level 7. We run a CMDA, which is a Chartered Management Degree Apprenticeship, and a Senior Leaders Degree Apprenticeship as well. Some of those are Burnley based, some of those are Preston based as well. One thing I'm doing as course leader as well, I'm looking to develop a master's in digital marketing, a master's degree apprenticeship as well. The problem with that at the minute, it doesn't exist, so it has to go, the standard has to be developed through the Trailblazer group. So it's something that's in the pipeline. It's just not something that we offer immediately because it doesn't exist. The hope is within a couple of years that we can offer that master's degree apprenticeship as well. Does anyone have any other questions for me? Anything that I can help with?
Could I ask a question? Can you hear me? Yeah. Do you only do this so it runs day release? Because it's not always easy for, you know, I wouldn't be able to be day release. It would have to be evenings. Or is that not a possibility?
Evenings, probably not. It is day release at the moment, but we are getting more queries about running online sessions. So we are potentially looking at a hybrid model where either we have an online cohort and an in-person cohort, or whether those two can be merged. Again, part of our learning from the last year is that we have had people online and we've had people that are home self-isolating in some cases. So that's showed that we can adapt and sort of manipulate the sessions, if that makes sense. So we have, and it's not been, the key thing is that student experience, and we've not had a dip in that. The students have been very happy to be online because it's allowed them that flexibility as well. So it's not something that's there currently, but it's something I'm sort of shouting about to managers and things. So hopefully, yes.
Right, okay, thank you.
Any other questions? You've got an endorsement in the chat from Rachel. Morning, Rachel. Burnley Council have got one of Matthew's degree apprentices, and they can highly recommend. That's a bit good feedback for you, Matthew.
As indeed. Thank you.
No, we love Luke. He's already taught himself video in like a week, so now he does all our videos. So that's good because I don't know how to do that. Just proves the point of we don't train ourselves doing it.
And who's that, Rachel? That's a
It's
future
Luke.
apprentice. No, who's that on your knee? That's not Luke on your knee.
Sorry. Gosh, you won't stay still.
I was going to say, Luke was on you.
Hello,
been
Ella.
on every call for a year now, yeah.
Hello, Ella. Give us a wave.
I've got Alice. Yeah, you've got an Alice in Wonderland dress, yeah.
Oh, lovely. I'd love to ask about the Alice in Wonderland dress, but we should probably crack on. Anyone else got any questions for either Mark or Matthew before we move on? Or actually for Ella, if anyone's got any questions for Ella, go for it.
Lots about Alice in Wonderland, but then they come with it.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Sorry,
yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Sorry, Jen will know if she's still on the call. So I've just done the CIM level 6 digital marketing course, passed that last year, and that was very much theory based. Sort of, you can take that back into your company now and put the theory, but it wasn't so much teaching you how do you make a video, how do you use social media the best way. It was more the theory and the practice behind it. So is this course more, and Mark, you'll be able, obviously being on the course, is it more, this is actually the practical side now? This is, right, now you know the theory of why you should be doing it this way. This is how you actually implement it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you want to answer that, but for me, yeah, there's practical elements to it. I suppose I'm quite fortunate working in video production that actually a lot of the creative elements fall into my job anyway. It's stuff that I'm already doing, but I know for some of the other students that are in my year group then that are perhaps not in as creative roles, they've had the opportunity to pick up new skills in creating content and creating assets for their business. So it's I wouldn't say, you know, if you're looking for a tutorial on how to or an in-depth session then on how to produce a video or how to use the Adobe suite, there's support there to do that, but it's not about just learning how to do Adobe. It's more about learning how you can apply the stuff that you're creating, but there is support there to learn how to use those platforms. And like I said, you know, there's quite a few on the course that are, you know, making use of that.
Yeah, just to extend on what Mark said, we have modules, a year 1 module on social media and content marketing, so that would look at that. And Mark's currently studying a second year module on digital design for marketers, and there's challenges of teaching that online. But yes, we would show how to use Photoshop or, you know, Adobe Premiere or whatever you use within your business. I've taught video production quite extensively in the past, so it's something that I understand how to do, and we can provide support. And we use the reviews as part of the apprenticeship. You have quarterly reviews with myself and your line manager, and we use targets around that to expose you to that through off-the-job training. So we look at almost like an itemized program to manage your development, as well as, you know, studying in the classes as well. So you've got, that's almost like a triangulation of development from course, employer, and what you want to do, if that makes sense.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thanks for the question, Jane, and thank you to Matthew and to Mark. I'm going to move on because we're going to try and wrap up for 20 past, and we've got, I know how much Patrick can talk. So I'll give the final word on that section to Neve in the chat, who, while she's not doing the marketing degree apprentice, she's doing a degree apprenticeship with UCLan, and can definitely recommend that style of learning. So if you want to know more about what Matthew's just shared with us, we will include Matthew's slides in the post-event email, and also obviously Matthew's contact details as well. And Debbie will be sending that round before she heads off for her lunchtime gin, I suspect. So it'll be in your inboxes before midday. Right, okay, onwards. Thank you, gents. On to our next speaker, and the BuzzStart Academy. It's a world-renowned and respected digital skills training company. Patrick, the founder, set up the company in 2020. He's coached, in previous years, he's coached, mentored and trained over 10,000 apprentices nationwide in digital marketing, in digital business, and in creative digital media. He's worked for Google Digital Garage, Facebook's Digital Skills Program, and the Prince's Trust, and he's just recently completed a program with 42 very talented women in the Northwest, which is what he's going to talk to us about today. So over to you, Patrick.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Great to be here. Can everyone hear me? Yeah, hope so. Let me just share my screen. Let me see, get the Thank you for the introduction as well, Simon. Nice one. So my name is Patrick Cutliffe. I'm the founder of BuzzStart Academy. And I shall get started. So Digital Skills Training Academy, BuzzStart Academy. I've trained over 10,000 apprentices UK-wide. I very quickly became the lead trainer for Digital Training Apprenticeship Company in London and grew their office in Bristol. I've trained over 30,000 marketing executives worldwide as well in digital marketing, charities, businesses, small enterprise, VP of global marketing for HBO, head of content marketing for UNICEF, and so on and so forth. So quite a lot of knowledge and learning from my journey. In 2019, my company was signed up as one of 12 partners for Facebook's Digital Skills Training Program, where we as a company trained 4,300 people across 63 workshops across the UK and Ireland in 2019. That was very much built on soft skills and digital skills training, and I'll talk a bit more about that later. Also worked with Google Digital Garage for 3 years, very quickly became their lead trainer, keynotes, master classes around the UK and Ireland. And for the last 3 years, I've been working for Google Squared, which is an international award-winning digital leadership program. And then in late 2020, 2021, my company was chosen as one of 9 to test pilot the Department of Further Education's Digital Bootcamp Initiative, which is a very new initiative for fast-tracking people into digital specialist employment. So to give you a bit of context for the digital climate, the digital skills gap, I've done a lot of research into this myself. According to DCMS Commission research, 82% of online jobs ask for digital skills, and specialist digital skills are required in 56% of middle skilled jobs and 68% of high skilled jobs. Lancashire is demonstrating a growing demand for specialist digital skills, resulting in digital skills gap and hard to fill vacancies. And employers are really facing challenges in recruiting for occupations that require these specialist digital marketing skills across all industries and sectors today. It's not just digital marketing agencies anymore. Everybody needs these trained staff. So looking at the future of work, then, something I've really done a lot of research into as well in the last 5 years when I started out in this mission of upskilling and educating myself to help people as much as possible. Our digital skills training initiative with Facebook in 2019 was conceived from research across 1,500 of their European employers. And they found that 47% of them are turning people away because they don't have the necessary digital or soft skills required to fulfill the job roles. So that's very concerning. COVID-19, as we all know, has pushed the entire world online. It's catapulted us forward by a number of years in that we've all had to learn how to work digitally, learn digital tools, skills, soft skills, work remotely, work in teams remotely, and everything else. Digital skills education will increasingly become a core focus of employers to compete and survive. I can guarantee you now that you will see in the next few years companies buying up training companies and bringing them inside as well. It's a given. The rapid ascent of technology, it's going to be a necessity. And then the development of soft skills, digital skills, mindset, self-belief, operating remotely in teams has never been more valuable to business success than it is today. So a quote from myself, let me close the little window so I can actually see it. Our economy needs a pipeline of highly skilled and quality trained digital leaders who can remove silos, enforce current and cutting edge frameworks, and increase economies of scale through customer-centric and data-driven strategies with buy-in from all company stakeholders. The reason I've written that quote is it basically defines what I've developed with talent, which I'll talk about a little bit as well. So just to give you a bit of context for the Department of Further Education's digital bootcamps, they've basically created these for basically to help people fast track them into employment. The digital skills gap is growing. And the aim of the Digital Bootcamp Fund is to help employers in Lancashire and Greater Manchester to address their specialist digital skills needs through these short, innovative, bespoke training programs by partnering up with training providers to co-design short training courses. The key objective is to address the shortage of skilled talent in a much quicker, much more effective way. And as a new approach, we, as an I, have developed a new innovative program called Talent. It's a 12-week program. It's funded by the DFE. It's free for participants. And it focuses largely on remote working, remote learning, mindsets, self-belief, soft skills, digital strategy, and ultimately teams working remotely on real and very practical employer-centric projects. So it's very much a practical program. So this was a recruitment website I built for the program back in late 2020. So I've been training and upskilling 42 women into open digital specialist job roles, so marketing jobs, digital marketing, content, social media marketing, and so on. And we've had, it's, as I say, it's a 12-week digital fast track to employment program. And we're launching, or the DFE are launching this initiative nationwide now from April onwards. So we are very much the test pilot of the program. I've developed this. This isn't a new framework, operate like a T, but I've developed my own version of it. The program talent has been built on this foundation. So we start with the individual and we get them to hack themselves, their happiness, their personality, their mindset, where they want to be in life, what they want to achieve. Then the next layer up then is the soft skills. So all of the practical learning and talent is built on soft skills, leadership, empathy, teamwork, problem solving, and so on. And these are very much highly required by employers today. The next layer up then is work culture. So inclusive, diverse, supportive, flat hierarchy, agile teams working remotely, work-life balance. So we're very inclusive. We've built it for accessibility for moms and back to work and all sorts of different demographic audience that we have in the program. The next layer then is work experience. So that very practical work specific experience so that you can literally take anything, whatever you learn in talent is transferable anywhere in the world into any industry or any business. And then the kind of body of our T then is your digital marketing, your base skills, your marketing foundations, your channel expertise. So we've covered quite a lot of this in the program as well. And then the superpower at the bottom then of the T is very much your digital specialism. So talent is very much a strategical high-end learning, the cutting edge stuff that I've learned with Google Squared Online, Facebook, all of my knowledge has been put into talent, and then talking to employers to figure out what they need, and then upskilling these amazing women so that they can literally fast track into the working world. So I'm going to hand over, as Simon said, I can talk all day, but it's not about me, it's about the girls. I'm extremely proud of them all. It's incredible. Their work has been largely better than most of the work I've seen in my working life in this area. It's been incredible what they've done in 12 weeks. The two girls that are going to talk today, Tertiel is first and Cecilia is second. And Tertiel comes from, they'll tell you themselves, from a finance background, and Cecilia comes from a mental health background. They've both learned and operated in remote teams on different real world business projects and models with strangers. They've made new friends, they've developed amazing skill sets. And we've actually seen at least 30% with, it's a 12-week program. By week 7, we've seen, week 8, we've seen 30% of our cohort securing full-time digital specialist job roles. So growth marketing strategist, social media manager, digital marketing executive. So I'm going to brief, and we're going to have 2 case studies, and I'm going to hand over to Tertiel, and Tertiel is going to direct me when to move through the slides. Over to you, Tertiel.
Hi everyone. So like Patrick mentioned, I'm Tertiel, and I graduated in 2018, and I studied accounting at university, and I have previously worked in finance. So last October, I attended the Switch to Digital Careers Week held by Manchester Digital. And I learned more about digital careers, including digital marketing, which I found quite interesting. So I wanted to look for jobs and training programs in the sector, and that's how I came across the talent program. Next slide, please, Patrick. Thank you. So the work I did on the talent program was for the Digital Skills for Women subdivision of BuzzStart. And Digital Skills for Women was established in 2020 to become visionary in its attempts to challenge and change the digital workforce. And the aim of the company is to offer free digital skills training to Gen Z women as they are technically adept and will learn quicker and can then empower other women. Next slide, please. So our objective was to work in small groups to develop a content marketing strategy for the Digital Skills for Women brand. And we had 3 main outcomes. Firstly, to develop the content marketing strategy that reflect the needs of our segment audience and the brand. Secondly, to design a landing page where our audience would be directed to in order to download free and specialized content. And lastly, to design and develop a range of lead magnets which would be downloaded from the landing page. Next, please. So when we developed our marketing strategy, we went through the following steps. So first, we created a customer persona to really understand the problems faced by our audience and the needs that they would need help with fulfilling. We then looked at what competitors were already offering in terms of their courses and content and how they were using digital channels to connect with their audience. And then this helped us to build our strategy as we identified our customer needs and what the market was currently offering. And we also used a number of marketing models to help to define our content. And we then defined goals and KPIs that would be used to measure our success. And we developed the landing page and lead magnets. Next, please. So one of the marketing frameworks we were introduced to in our classes was the See, Think, Do, Care framework, which was developed by Avinash Kaushik at Google. So this framework requires us to understand customer intent across these 4 consideration stages in the customer journey and recognize that different but consistent campaigns are required to communicate with customers across their journey. And we consider this framework when we're thinking about what our audience's journey would be and the interactions that they would have with our brand. And the framework also helped us to produce a 1-month content plan. Next, please. Another model we looked at was the content marketing matrix, and we mapped content ideas to the 4 different categories in the model. So those include inspiring, entertaining, convincing, and educating content. And this model also links to the See, Think, Do, Care framework, which I just mentioned before. So for example, the C stage of the See, Think, Do, Care framework, where the audience searches for generic information relates to entertaining types of content. And the Think stage, where the audience wants to find out more specific information, relates to educational type of content. And the Do stage, where the audience will actually buy a product or a service, relates to convincing types of content. And in the Care stage, where the audience shares their purchase, that relates to inspiring type of content. So linking these models helped us to better understand our target audience's journey and all of their different touch points with our brand. Next slide, please. So yeah, this slide basically shows how we use the See, Think, Do, Care framework and the content marketing matrix to map our customers' journey and the touch points with the brand. And it helped us to define a range of specific content that we would produce in our content marketing strategy, which would resonate to our target customer. Next, please. So here are a few examples of the lead magnets and the landing page that we actually produced. So we worked in groups of 6 for this task, and we worked fully remotely using Zoom and Slack to communicate. And we also used tools such as Canva and Wix to create and present our work. And we also used Trello to kind of manage the project and like visualize the different components of our task. So yeah, thanks for listening, and I'll pass on to Cecilia.
Sorry, I was just on mute. Hello, my name is Cecilia. So I started the talent course in December. I currently work as a full-time social work and approved mental health professional, and I've done that job for the past 12 years. I wanted to do the talent course because I saw it as an opportunity to change careers, which is something that I'd wanted to do as well for a few years. And I didn't have any digital marketing experience as well prior to starting the course. So the content intrigued me and it just sounded very interesting. So I just wanted to join and hopefully change careers as well. Next slide, please, Patrick. So I'm going to speak to you about BuzzStart Digital, which is also a subdivision of BuzzStart, which is an organization we worked on as part of the project. So BuzzStart Digital was created by other women to support other women and by empowering them in their digital marketing skills. Like what Patrick said, COVID pushed the whole world onto online. So it was important for us to have this platform where other women who have small businesses and charities are able to actually also learn how to do digital marketing skills. So that was the mission as well, to be able to upskill and empower at least 1 million women with regards to digital skills. Next slide, please. So the project brief was for us as well to develop a content strategy to reflect the needs of the brand, as well as also meet the needs of our target audience. We also needed to design a landing page, which would be on the website to drive customers and be able to engage as well with the lead magnet that we also needed to develop, which was also another way of engaging the customers. Next slide, please. So we developed a few goals and KPIs, but we had one which was specific that we needed to achieve. Because the business is new, it's young, it was important that we raised the brand awareness amongst our audience. So it was quite specific. We wanted to do that between 30 to 40% increase in brand awareness within 60 days. And I'll speak about the audience in our next slide. So our audience, going back to the mission of the business, it was important to get Gen Z women, women of all ethnicities who are in the Greater Manchester and Lancashire area, because these women grew up with technology, they're technologically savvy, they use social media, which is also another place that we would be able to actually meet them and target them there to be able to increase our brand awareness. And our SMART objective is always quite clear. In the time we wanted to do that by 60 days, by using SEO and also creating relatable and intriguing content for them. Next slide, please. So we developed multiple customer personas. So customer personas are quite important with regards to getting to know who our customers are, getting to know our customers on a deeper level, finding out about the emotional attributes. Who are they? Where are they? What are they listening to? What sort of things are they into? What content do they want? So for example, we have Iva here, who is a single mom, working full-time as a teacher, but she also has a side hustle of a small business where she hand makes beauty and hair accessories. She sells these online. She works on these after work. She has a child, so family is quite important. She's quite fearful of not getting enough orders, but she values her independence that that her business gives her. So it's a business she would want to be able to grow. But in order to do that with how the economy is, she wants to be able to also upskill and learn more about her digital marketing skills. So next slide, please. So we know that our customers will be meeting, will be interacting with our business at different stages of their lives. So it was important for us to be able to interact with them and be able to give them exactly what they needed at those different parts of the customer journey. So the good thing about data and technology now is that it can track and serve our customers the right kind of content if that is built in properly within the system. So we wanted to ensure that our SEO and SEM that we were using for customers will be able to discover, they'll be able to discover that us online. And we know that content is king only if it's relatable and actually intriguing and educational for our audience. So it was important that website that we created, as well as the content we put on social media, is actually of interest and actually relatable to them. And the use of reviews, case studies, and testimonials is also important on the customer journey around consideration, to ensure that we are hearing and listening to what the customers are actually saying about the business. Next slide, please. So this is an example of the lead magnet and landing page that we created. We were in a group of 5. There's one of the lead magnets there, which was also based on what the fears was for Ivor, for example. So she wanted to ensure that she knew how to drive traffic to a website, so that people were actually aware of what a website is, and hopefully increase as well leads and orders on her website. So there was a lead magnet specifically for that. And other customers as well wanted to also know how to use content, how to write content, and ensure that the content that they create on their websites is also relevant. Next slide, please, Patrick. So at the end, it was also important for us to understand what we actually got by the end of the business. We wanted to know if we had met our goals and KPIs, just to also know what to do in the future. So we use Google Analytics to be able to evaluate the success of the business. So thank you very much for listening to my presentation. And just to say, like what Tatil was saying, it was all remote. We all learned new technologies and skills that we are actually able to actually move into new roles in digital marketing. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, girls. That was amazing. Any questions from anyone?
Go on. I'm sure we've got some questions. Patrick, you've just your first cohort has just sort of concluded the program, then, and as you said, and they're out into the marketplace. You said 30% have achieved positions already. Has that increased?
Well, week 7 to 8, we were seeing that we've built in an employability careers kind of program into the talent program as well. So every Friday for 4 hours, the girls would work on their employability and careers through 11 weeks to get them work ready. So we have a Facebook consultant in employability and careers, and then Amy is 15 years experience. So we've actually developed a whole new program in employability and careers, which I'm sure the girls will agree has had a significant impact positively on helping them to achieve those job roles as well, you know. So like we've had, like, a lot of them don't come from marketing backgrounds, or they've just graduated or whatever, and you know, to move from being graduate last year into a growth marketing strategist after 7 weeks in this program is remarkable, you know. So we're really proud to see that these are happening. We've others who have started their own businesses. A lot have got past their own mindsets and the barriers that they've put into their own minds, and they're now putting their work out to the world, and they're feeling really confident in themselves. And they have this group of women now as well who are pushing them and motivating them and inspiring them. So it's really powerful to see it all coming out to fruition. So yeah, absolutely, it's brilliant. And they're all graduating today at 11 o'clock.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well done, Tatia. Well done, Cecilia. Well done, Patrick, as well. But the girls outshined you, mate, I'm afraid.
I know.
I think Anita's got a question.
Anita, have you got a question for us?
Oh, yeah. Are you doing any more boot camps?
The plan, hopefully, yeah, it all comes down to funding, Anita. So the government, they're launching this program now from April nationwide. We do have a consortium bid in, so we're just waiting to hear, and hopefully that'll happen. But I'll largely be keeping my program online, because that's a future of work for a lot of people, and it's important that people learn how to operate and teams remotely and learn the skills and the tools that you need to do that. So personally, I'll be keeping mine as an online, but others will be doing offline as well. So yeah.
And is it aimed at a certain age group? 19
plus was their initial spec. Yeah. So
I think you're just over 19, Anita, aren't you?
20 tomorrow.
20 tomorrow. just in. Well done. Just in.
Right.
Any last questions, Patrick? I guess have you got sort of graduates, perhaps the wrong word, your cohort that are actually actively looking for work right now? If anyone's got vacancies that they want to share with you.
We absolutely do. Yeah, 100%. Please feel free to reach out to me, any job roles that you have. The way this was set up is that you couldn't I couldn't bid unless I had employers in place. So thankfully I had the East Lancashire Chamber of Commerce and a couple of other amazing companies who came on board to help us achieve what we've done, which is incredible, and it was needed. So yeah, absolutely. We've got a cohort, as I say, graduating today. They're very highly skilled. These are cutting edge frameworks. I mean, these two girls have just talked you through a process that, in my journey, a lot of marketers do not have the experience or knowledge in that strategic high end stuff. And that's the stuff I think it was Liz was saying earlier, that this is the stuff you need to be learning and you need to know today, So yeah, absolutely. We've got some great girls. So please reach out for sure.
It looks like you've also got some really good marketing collateral that you can use next time that they've developed for you. You've got a nice suite to use.
This is true as well. My vision is to build to continue to build on what we've done and build the community, and hopefully some of the girls we have now will become mentors for the next batch and so on. So, and then because you say we can use and start to develop that. So digital skills for women, I incorporated it just like 2 months before I started the program. And then I decided to make it a real world business so that they had something very real to work on. But obviously then if we can start to grow that then as the course grows alongside it, then that would be a really powerful thing. That is the plan, but we'll take it a day at a time.
Well, thanks for sharing. Last chance, last call for questions. Not seen anyone waving at me.
We have a quiet bunch.
Yeah. Okay, well, brilliant. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Cecilia, and thank you to Teal. Also, thank you to Mark and Matthew for the earlier slot. A quick reminder, upcoming dates. The next marketing mix is the 2nd of July, so put the date in your diary. Venue to be confirmed, but hopefully we will have a venue, yes. Fingers crossed, subject to obviously how the next few months go. All our events you will see listed at chamberlive.co.uk. And if you go to in fact, we'll put a link in the post-event email to sign up to our mailing list. We can't add you, but if you sign up to our mailing list, you can opt into which comms you're interested in and which comms you're not interested in. So if international trade is for you, great. If it isn't, then also great. You can opt in to personalize and customize your communications with us, but that will make sure that you find out about all our upcoming events or go to our website. And a quick reminder again about the Expo, which is coming up on the 7th of October, probably one of the first big business events in East Lancs post-lockdown. So save that date as well. Have a great Friday. Enjoy whatever the weekend brings. And thanks very much for your attention and attendance today. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Cheers, everyone. Take care.
Thanks for watching this ChamberLIVE video from the East Lancashire Chamber of Commerce. If you've enjoyed this content, then you might enjoy some of the other content that's on the screen now. Please do subscribe to our YouTube channel.